Oh, sorry, there.
No,
Okay, time being 6:34, call to order the Tilton Planning Board meeting for Tuesday, February 26, 2018. Does everyone have the copy of the February 13 minutes? And have you had an opportunity to review them?
I've reviewed them. Make a motion to accept the minutes of February 13th as written.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And I will abstain since I was not here.
I'll decline to vote, I haven't read them yet.
Okay.
Idiot. Okay, first case this evening, Planning Board Case 18-01, continuation of site plan review, proposal from AutoServe to operate an automobile and automotive part sales business at 67 East Main Street in the Regional Commercial District. They have requested a continuance, correct?
Yes, to March 27th.
Make a motion to continue planning board case 1801 to March 27th.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, Planning Board Case 18-03, continuation of site plan review, proposal from Beth Joslin to operate a food stand at 303 Laconia Road in the Resort Commercial District.
Same thing. I received an email from them today. They're looking at some different options and requested a continuance to March 27th also.
Make a motion to continue planning board case 18-03, continuation of site plan review, to be continued until 3/27.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No abstentions. Planning Board Case 18-04, site plan review, proposal from Cynthia Woodbury to divide the first floor into a commercial space and residential space at 291 Main Street in the downtown district. You should have paperwork
And we do?
with you.
Yes,
And
we do.
before, or when it's appropriate, I have something to share about past approvals.
All right.
Shall I do
Miss
that?
Woodbury, where are you? Where'd you go? Come on up, play with us.
Before we conclude this meeting, I have a question on the agenda.
Oh, okay.
Shall I?
Yes, please.
Okay,
sir.
thank you. So you have, I think, in your materials, a two-sided document, a notice of decision from 2005 on one side and a notice of decision from 2006 on the other. Since Ms. Woodbury has last been here, she's actually eyeing a new location. Same business that you guys said, recently that would require site plan review. But because of the new location she's selected, we wanted to go back and look at old approvals. And we've talked about this before, but I think I should bring it up. A couple of years ago we discussed this, but it seems like it should be looked at again. The 2005 approval essentially approved in that same location a business in the front of the building, first floor, and a residence in the rear. So in 2005 that was approved. If that were the only document, it'd be, I think, 100% cut and dry. She would not need site plan review. However, there is the 2006 approval, which slightly changes things. It doesn't clearly state it in this letter here. Well, it sort of does, because it talks about separating areas, and it talks about separating the front business from the rear office space. So essentially, it seemed to address a slight change of taking that rear space and converting it to an office. However, when I look at the change of use review authority that we have in the land use office, to me, what she's doing does not constitute a significant change from the 2006 approval. And the 2006 approval didn't constitute much of a change from the 2005 approval. Therefore, I think the planning board should consider the possibility of that site plan review may not be required at this location. Ms. Woodbury has obviously turned in a complete application, and she's prepared to go forward with site plan review tonight, but I don't think I'm not 100% certain that she needs to do so.
What is the feeling of the board? Catherine's looking up things. Yes.
It seems like probably I would err on the side of not needing it.
As
Is
would
it so
I.
similar?
This is pretty much the same Mr. Mansfield was doing with the bookstore, living in the back, working in the front. And then code enforcement would take care of any kitchen, fire department, all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we'd follow up with her, make it clear, all technical departments, town, local, state, any approvals that may be required will still be required, and she'll need to do that before she gets her certificate of occupancy.
What's your opinion, Miss Catherine?
What zoning ordinance have changed since those site plan reviews?
What's that?
What zoning ordinances may have changed? That was, 2006 was over 10 years ago. So
I'm
what
not a-
zoning ordinances have changed that the planning board should consider?
Well, I'm not aware of any changes that would, off the top of my head, that would pertain to this. I will say the uses proposed in the application are compliant with current zoning. And it doesn't appear a variance was needed in 2005 either. So it would seem that both then and now, what she's proposing is allowed by right.
So you're saying regardless of any changes that might have been made, these are compliant with what's in effect at the moment?
Correct.
All right.
Are there existing apartments in that building?
Yes.
Upstairs.
Yeah.
And
In the upstairs.
does this propose to add an apartment or a living space?
Mm-hmm.
So how does that work with the, yep,
With site plan review.
no, with the chart in the back, the density?
So four dwelling units are allowed per parcel.
How many are in that building?
2
Well,
upstairs.
it would be 3.
Well, that would
So
be
this
the
is-
third.
Correct, and then adding one would make 3.
Yeah,
Great,
okay.
I see what you're saying.
So that, no, I
Sorry.
can't find it.
A little slow there,
No, no,
but got
good
it.
job, good job.
Do you really have to install more sprinkler system in there?
Fire department.
Yeah, I know, I just saw that, it's amazing, that's, yikes.
That was Tim.
That's what you say,
So he, how do you say it?
goes by the law.
Changed his first idea. His first idea was a very heavy fire door that you couldn't open and close. You know those, right? We're all familiar with it. And then his second idea, which is, I call it an equal substitute, would be a solid core door with the sprinkler system. So he has 2 separate ideas.
He's the guy with the codes, we don't second guess him.
You got it, but I just thought I'd clarify that in case it comes up.
So should we have a motion that we don't need it, or?
Well,
I
I
would,
have a question.
I think so.
Yes,
Yeah.
So are you suggesting that this, the 2006 stands for that property?
I think no. I think what would essentially, become the status quo would be that, the 2006 was her last approved site plan, and then what we're saying is what she's requesting now is a minor enough change. It doesn't trigger any of those impacts listed on our change of use review form, such that she can go ahead and do what she's requesting. I guess, to answer your question specifically, yes, 2006, I guess, would remain the last approved site plan for that location by the Tilton Planning Board. This would essentially represent a change that does not require site plan review because it's not.
Additional site plan review.
Right.
So this would stand, these conditions would still stand, the compliance with life safety, exterior lighting to be downcast, I mean, that's zoning
Yeah.
anyway, so you're gonna comply with it, but I'm more concerned with the compliance with state fire code.
Yeah.
I'm okay as long as that stands.
Do we need a motion for that? or-
Well,
Sure.
It's hard to clarify this is office space versus living space.
The reality is fire code, as part of her obtaining her certificate of occupancy, which is required in zoning, it's going to address the residential aspect. So I
Yeah.
guess you could say that might be a slight deviation from the 2006, but I think, as Ms. Dawson was saying, the important aspect, which is adherence to fire code, will carry.
Our own zoning will dictate the layout of the dwelling unit, will it not?
It'll certainly, it'll have to meet zoning, yeah.
I know. So do we dismiss the case?
I think you could do something like that you move to determine that the proposal does not require site plan review.
Additional site plan review, because it really,
Okay,
I don't want
okay, I see what you're saying.
to.
So additional, all right,
So we gotta be careful what we say.
all right.
Go ahead, that sounds perfect. Are you making a motion?
Oh my gosh. I make a motion, this is this planning board case, number PB 18-04, does not need additional site plan approval beyond that of the site plan that stands from March 15th, 2006.
I'll second that.
Do you have
That
that,
make
Mary?
sense?
Yes.
All those in
Thank you.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
Oh, yes.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So be it. So you get together with Diary and have fun.
So I basically, with all those wonderful words you spoke, it's okay for me to move forward.
Yes.
Yes.
Work with Diary and he will help you.
Wow.
You have still have
So,
conditions.
it seemed like the long way around, but that's okay. I honor that, I respect that. As long as you guys knew what you did.
We do.
Good.
We got this.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. Planning Board Case 1805, site plan review proposal from Michelle Lennon to operate a family resource center at 5 Prospect Street in the downtown district. U551. Everybody has the application. If not, we can get you one.
I have you.
Great. Do you have a letter from the landlord?
Yeah, there, one was
You have one in the
submitted,
file?
yeah,
Thank you. Ooh, it should be on our checklist, so we know.
yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Then we don't have to ask you every time, and every time you say, it's in the file.
We have a clock.
Well, I think that, while there may not be an engineered plan, the applicants turned in multiple images, including a floor plan that is sort of what they're using as the interior aspect of their site plan, and then an image from our GIS showing lot lines and the building. So that's what we have.
Do you have anything showing the parking spaces?
The images were, they submitted images that show some of the parking. What was, I don't know, I think that was, the images showing the parking and then the overhead, the aerial image, I think were intended to show, the aerial image shows both the parking on site and then some of the nearby public parking that they're intending to utilize.
I can't make out any of the parking with the aerial,
Okay,
just the municipal.
okay.
Just for my clarification, I believe most of their clients are walk-in.
It doesn't
Rather
matter,
than
it's our
that
parking
area.
regulation, it's our parking regulation.
I'm not saying it's not, I'm just saying that I think most of theirs are.
Is it appropriate for me to speak or no?
Not yet. I'll let you.
Do we know what the time limit is for the municipal parking lot right there?
I don't, actually. The applicant might.
Because they're,
You know, I mean, I think if we consider the zoning amendment, you know, this is in the downtown district.
I'd like to accept planning board 18-05 for site, the application for discussion purposes, so we can talk about that. I'd like to accept the application as complete or substantially complete.
anybody second?
Not yet.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Discuss
Is that all in favor?
on. Yes.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
I think we could have a presentation since it's
Michelle, you're up.
Hi. So the questions on the parking, their municipal lot A is like attached, like right to the front walkway of the building. So this is the old post office, for those of you familiar with the building itself. On the other side, there's 4 spaces that are kind of like cut in and over there. In the back, it's a big unmarked lot, so it's pretty much all the parking. Do you have any questions, or?
I read through it, and it seems pretty, I mean, straightforward.
It started with the food pantry, pretty much. We've had the food pantry at the Northfield Tilton Congregational Church for as long as I think the church has been operating, I think. In fact, if you were to make it, they'd be able to drive through the town every year for that. And what had happened, I was still working full-time for like Student Community Services doing family supports in this area. And families were having such a hard time accessing the hubs in Laconia as part of Belknap County, and then Concord, which was the other hub. Plymouth was the next closest. So we had first developed a partnership with Health First just because their outreach worker was willing to come and help people navigate the healthcare system when everything was changing with expanded Medicaid in the marketplace. And from there, the need for family supports in this area was pretty high. And so I think in there it talks about how we did some community canvassing. I can remember some of you were at those initial meetings to hear what we had proposed, and just the supports have really grown. And we just developed a partnership with the Williams-Farm School District, just providing supports to families affected by substance use disorder. So 3 of us are, one of us has already got the license back for being certified recovery support workers. 2 of us just pass all of our stuff into the state because we see the 2 primary concerns really of the community, even when we did that canvassing 4 years ago, was how families are affected by substance use and poverty in this area. So it's been our primary focus from the beginning. Hoping that, it's great to give people food and stuff when they're, struggling, but also to help them learn skills and coping skills and connect to resources so that they can have a good life and not just be fighting for existence, So that's pretty much how we started, and we've just kind of grown to the point where we couldn't survive in the storefront anymore, so. And that building came up, and it's still downtown. It's easy access for the school. It's really easy access for this whole area that, has struggled. And
It's
the way
vacant now,
farming,
right?
And like, oh yeah, and lack of.
It has been for a
I
while.
know, it has,
Transportation.
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Looks
Yeah.
vacant. Nice.
On the cooking matters, it shows you have cooking matters classes,
We've done that in the church. One of the things that had come out.
but are you
of
going to have a kitchen that does that in here?
There is a kitchen area there. The cooking matters classes, they were unique. We did them really we've done them in the church because they have a huge kitchen area there. And it's actually, the New Hampshire Cooperative Extension comes in and does them.
So will that be
they-
doing back at the church, or will that be on this site?
I'm not really sure, because we don't have any scheduled right now. The reason why we had done them at the church is because we had bids from the food pantry that the clients, they'd leave all the kale behind and some of the healthier vegetables that would come in, and they wouldn't use them, so that's why they approached us. What her name was, but they had approached us about coming in and doing training with the food pantry clients, and that's how that had originated.
Why I'm asking is because that triggers whether we have to have the health department in on it, or,
Oh, I see. Yeah.
so that's why it's,
The parent education classes, we usually just have pizza delivered and have salad, so it's pretty benign.
so you may want to consider keeping cooking matters down at the church. Then you won't have to worry about it.
We have pretty high standards of excellence, so I mean, if we.
But I think the state that would, activate certain state laws, and you have to have a cooking certification from the state if you're going to be feeding the public and cooking there
Oh, yeah.
and serving them there. That's why I think
Okay.
Judy brought it up.
Yeah,
It's not just something
We'll, like,
that
training
this
and how
planning
they will
board
deliver
requires,
and
it's a
stuff.
state requirement.
Okay.
so then when you do cooking matters, just go back to the church site to do it.
Good to know.
It just make it easier on you, and less expensive.
A question about the playground.
Yes,
Did that cost
No.
I don't think
Not-
so.
It's not permitted in the downtown district, that's why.
Correct, yeah, no, the play group is specifically for building attachment with parents and caregivers and their children. They're present on site, it's not like we are doing daycare at all. It's a 2-hour program twice a week, and the caregiver stays with their child. And there's an early childhood educators and master's degree in early childhood that works with the families.
It's just a meeting.
Yeah.
Basically.
I think you explained that in your write-up.
Yeah, no, we would never do childcare as a family resource center.
Have you had the fire department in yet?
No, they had actually asked for us to be set up first because they look at things like extensions and wear smoke detectors and they've been wonderful actually, where the carbon monoxide detectors are going to be located and all of that. So they said as soon as we went through this process, and for the occupancy permit we have to do that too, so they said they would rather come, I would talk to the guy, the tall guy.
Kim Zubair.
Yeah. I was popping in at the church. We're getting a sprinkler system at the church. So
There's a question about parking.
Yes.
It looks, I can't tell from this aerial view, but it's possible that this last space in the public parking could be an ADA compliant space, however, it's not on their actual site, so they would have to have ADA compliant parking, at least one space.
Well, I think we need parking shown. That's what we've done to everybody else. It's come forth. We don't approve it without showing how many parking spaces so we can see if it fits the parking for our zone.
So the site in the back that's now unmarked will have to be marked in some way.
okay.
But you'll have to bring that to us as a pictorial here to mark them in there.
Make sure it meets the town requirement, was it 9 by 19?
Well, parking spaces have to be 9 by 19. As you know, downtown district is almost impossible to regulate through the parking requirement table, and as a result, this board wisely is addressing that at town meeting this year. So just, that's something to keep in mind.
No, but it still needs ADA compliant spaces though.
Okay.
And this is their private parking lot in the back. This isn't asking to use any of the street or municipal, which
Okay.
the other ones on
All
Main
right.
Street do.
Okay.
Is there any plans to use the back of the building where I believe there's a loading dock out there for deliveries and whatnot?
We've used it to bring in the furniture and stuff. And there's a garage door back there and a regular door, but I mean, everybody, like clients and stuff would use the front door.
So you don't have, there aren't any goods or anything that you would typically have routinely delivered to that?
Not routinely, no.
Okay.
I mean, occasionally, we get formula and, stuff like that that gets stored, would be stored in that back area, but, yeah.
Because I went by other commercial uses, 300 square feet. So for just the square footage, you'd have to have 12 spaces. And then it requires one space for each 5 employees on the largest shift. So I don't know how many people you plan on having in attendance there. So it's at least 13 spaces. If you're not using the storage dock, it'd be a lot easier to fit them in there. Because then you wouldn't have to allow for that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we can
park.
park right up to the dock and that would be fine, yep.
Some of the lights you show on the building are not downcast. And where's this crazy picture? They are pointing straight out, like that one, and that one, and that one. That might be the same one, and that one. The lights have to be downcast, are those lights adjustable?
I believe so. You mean the ones in the loading dock?
No, this one looks like it's,
Jaguar Electric had done.
this one looks like it's above the front door.
Oh, okay.
And this cluster says it's coming straight out.
So you want them straight down?
No, I don't have to be straight down, just need to be downcast.
Oh, okay.
I don't think these are very high-powered lights.
It's, the police department actually recommended doing the sensor lights around the perimeter. This one at the back loading dock, so like if anybody were to comment onto the loading dock, it comes on. And then there's just the one over the door, but there's recessed lighting over the walkway.
So it would be downcast if it's recessed.
There's a spotlight on the side of the building. I don't know if the spotlight's considered downcast or not. I might be just the code enforcement.
Which one are you looking at? This one here?
A picture of the telephone pole. Says it's at the corner. Lighting on corner building facing Academy Street. It's an unshaded spotlight. I don't know, spotlight. Maybe
So it might
that
be
means
underneath.
spotlight
It's
is,
underneath the owner, right? So-
doesn't need a shade.
Somebody pointed down.
Yeah, I just don't know. That's radiates light, you have a residential area there, and I don't know if I think our lighting's changed. This building was abandoned.
When are you hoping to open this up?
Thursday,
Thursday, really?
that says here.
We haven't announced anything until, we finish this process.
But you're pretty ready to go?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, most of our, like, our home visitors work off-site anyways,
Yeah.
so it's office space for them really, and then the playground, as soon as we have the walkthrough for the fire department and stuff. I mean, we're just loading in the furniture this week, and all the painting's pretty much being finished. We have
Yeah.
one bathroom that's been made ADA compliant, because we just finished our Medicaid site application and all of that, so it's a long process.
Yeah.
We were at 293 Main Street, but we couldn't get an occupancy permit there because the limos were getting fixed wiring. And then we had, 293 Main Street, and then the 291? Sorry, 291. And the limo like ran out of heat, and then the pipe froze, so like everything kind of got wrecked, and it's been fun winter for.
Yeah, so this is this meets all your requirements.
I mean, the building is beautiful, how it's cleaned up.
The board has nothing at the moment. I'll open it to public comment.
Okay.
Anyone from the public want to speak? Yes.
Hi, my name is Peter Saliba. I live at 30 School Street. Michelle, nice to meet you.
Hi.
I have a series of questions. I work at the Tilton School, I have a school there, and we're very excited about this proposal. So I'm just going to ask a couple of questions, and I think they're all appropriate, but Judy, keep me honest.
You know I will.
Number one, are you guys a 501c3 or nonprofit status?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Number two, what's your governance structure? Do you have a board of directors or?
Yes, our board includes a LADAC counselor, a healthcare navigator, a triage nurse, a nurse manager, Beth Keck, whose husband is one of the principals. I think she's a school teacher.
Okay.
So we have a.
So it's a board of about 10 people?
Yeah, we
Just 10 people?
both had an executive board, and Scott Burns, who, he works, I think, for Community Bridges.
Okay.
So some of them are like on the executive board, and then there's other directors. And then we also have a community advisory board, which is made up of people that have some vested interest in the work we do.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, great. And is this the only facility that board oversees?
It will be, yes. I mean, prior to this move, we were like in 2 locations because we were working out of the church and then a storefront on Main Street.
Yep.
Now, like our whole thing is to get under
Get
this
one
one
place.
roof. Yeah.
Okay, so this will be the only location? that
Yes.
you work. Okay, great. What's your source of funding?
Right now, we have a contract with the Winnisquam School District that is for the home visiting and will be to create new early learning opportunities, which is the playgroup that we've proposed, the Strong Foundations Program. We have a contract with Harbor Homes that is through the Bureau of Drug and Alcohol Services for the telephone recovery supports that we do, which is like calling people, just checking in with them weekly to see how their recovery is going. And then also the peer recovery supports, which is like we do coaching, like life coaching for individuals that are affected by substance use disorder. And then, so the Bureau of Drug and Alcohol Services goes to funding to Harbor Homes, who contract with us for this area.
So is
And
it all
then-
state-oriented grants? Are there any federal grants involved? So all state-
Right now, there's no federal grants, but we just did receive one that is for parent education,
Okay.
working with people.
Yep.
It's through the Bureau of Drug and Alcohol Services, but it's inclusive for anybody that's looking for parent education.
Okay.
Specifically, the curriculums are the sober parenting journey, active parenting of teens, cooperative co-parenting, individualized. In the homes, we have parents as teachers. So it really depends on the individual because we offer what we call customized comprehensive support. So no matter what needs somebody comes in the door with, we have somebody that's going to work with them to figure out what their goals are, what their plans are, and try to remove barriers, basically. So sometimes it's just transportation to a doctor's appointment. Other times it's getting somebody into treatment and, like I have somebody that's going from Hampstead Hospital up to the Friendship House for 90 days.
So you'll get them up there?
Yeah, and sometimes it's just getting them to a regular primary care appointment. Sometimes it's just opening the food pantry for an emergency food distribution.
So but
It just really depends on what the need is.
But the primary source of funding comes from the state right now with some potential for a federal coming down the road.
Yeah, I mean, Joy and I worked for 2 years for no salary at all while we got this off the ground. I worked as the pastor of the church. Full disclosure, I'm also a pastor. I worked full-time for Children's Community Services, and the needs were so great here, I ended up leaving that full-time job, refinancing my house so that I could keep it, and, I ended up taking my job here. And then as we got this off the ground with the funding that we built with grants, that we were able to pull salary starting in December of last year. So.
Peter, do you have any questions of the germane to site plan?
My next ones are, I was just trying to determine the viability of the organization. So thank you
Okay,
for keeping
that's
me
not
honest.
part of,
Yep,
you guys can chat about that after.
right, okay. As far as the parking's been a subject here, do you anticipate being able to keep, to meet the parking needs within the current available spaces that you have?
I do, only because we've been at the church and we've been on the storefront on Main Street and we've never had an issue. And it's all the same area. If anything, this opens up more parking because we'll be able to use that lot that had been vacant, basically, at the post office.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, you think you're going to be
Yep.
able to do that? Okay, and then my understanding is that there is no treatment of any kind
Correct.
happening down there?
No clinical treatment
If
at
there
all.
was going to be clinical treatment that would violate the zoning? and
There is
all
no
that?
medical stuff that can go
Okay.
on in the downtown district, and we don't do any clinical work at all.
Okay,
We refer and we connect.
great. This next question is maybe for the planning board. If you were if they were to house a like-minded organization in their building, in this building, would they have to seek approval from the planning board to do that? If they were to sublease or sublet a space?
Depending what it was going to be. That'd be something that, if a group was going to do that, they could bring it to Dari, and Dari could make the determination based on the
That would be-
checklists.
That would actually be very good for me to know because WIC, which is.
Okay, we need to keep it on
Okay.
site plan right now. You can ask Dari.
Right.
Two more questions, we're almost done. In your current site, have you ever had to call 911 for a medical emergency to serve any of your clients?
No.
Yeah,
I
that's
wanna
not
say-
site plan, Pete.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to understand the use of the facility, understand the traffic that they have in the organization. But if it's inappropriate, I'll table the question. Yeah, table that one? Okay, great. And then finally, I have a request. We'd love to have you come to campus to explain what you're doing to our kids.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other public?
You covered it, thanks.
There you go. Okay, then I'll close it to public. Come back to the board. Is there any further information the board needs?
I do think we need to park in this,
Yeah.
My question's for Laurie. Do we require updating of our driveway permits? I know the state does.
Oh, yes, yeah, it's a new use. Yeah, they need submitted a driveway permit, yeah.
Yes, we do need some help.
Sign, yeah. Down past the light.
Just lighting that conforms to Tilton's standard. Anything else over there?
The driveway permit updated?
Yeah, driveway's there.
I just have a parking
And
lot
fire.
and an updated permit.
I got parking, signage changes down to the lighting, driveway permit.
Update that. Eric,
And-
do you have anything further?
Hung up on the whole child thing.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not-
It's like a mommy and me.
Yeah, if parents are there,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what made my mind up. I considered the same thing.
It'd be different if
It's
they
the
were
same
dropping
thing
them
in
and
the
going.
library. When you have
Oh,
a
fire,
mommy
fire,
or whatever
fire
on
department.
daycare.
I'm just worried about that line getting crossed, that's all. Also.
We don't do daycare, so.
I'm sure they got to.
Yeah, I'm sure.
These years of
Come on,
socializing
dude,
young
yeah.
kids before school with other kids is becoming more popular, more common.
It's just.
That sounds like what you're doing, is getting young kids before they go to school familiar with other kids and being out in the world.
Oh, yeah, the
Rather than
connection, yeah. And
Sitting in front
honestly,
of the TV or.
yeah, one of the things that we have seen is like isolation for young parents has been a real problem. And it's like with this technology, they'll sit home on their phones, and so there's a lack of attachment in some of the kids. And
They
one
don't
of
need
the
water and sewer
partnerships
because it's
that
already
formed
there.
because of our relationship with the assistant superintendent of the school, seeing more and more kids from this area not being ready for kindergarten. And we know life course trajectory, if they stop behind, they tend to stay behind, so we're trying to get those interventions in sooner.
No. I think it's good.
Does that make you any more comfortable, Eric?
Yeah.
I don't want to be responsible for watching anybody's children, that's why they're there with them,
Oh, right, yeah, that's a whole different,
Yeah.
definite, clear difference between the two programs. But, so are we all set?
Thank you, guys. I'll make a motion.
Do you see everything? I've got these conditions.
You want me to read that?
No, I'm
Oh.
just saying.
Oh, yes,
you
yeah,
see
no,
everything?
I've been watching.
Okay. Make a motion to accept the site plan with the following conditions: that we receive a detailed parking schematic, that we see the signage changes that are going to be recommended, that lighting be compliant with Tilton requirements, that you update the driveway permit, and you get fire department clearance in writing.
You don't want the parking beforehand? For approval?
Right, I would say, what
No.
happens,
Yeah.
what happens when we discover there's not enough parking or, and we
Right.
I don't think that's a problem. And I don't
I
want to hold
don't
up
think
the
we should take
application.
a chance. I mean, they're required to have at least 13 spaces. As
That,
per-
I would,
If we go to 200, it's going to be more, but
I mean, again, consider the zoning amendment. I think Chairman Tilton made a good point. it doesn't change that the spaces they have on their site may need to be 9 by 19, and they may need to provide an ADA.
They do have to have an ADA.
Right.
They have to provide ADA.
Yes, they have to do
I'm
that.
saying, that may be true.
Yeah.
But to hold them to the 13 on that piece of property, my recommendation is that a conditional approval requiring the submission of a parking schematic demonstrating compliance, they can't open until they do that. So that covers it in my mind.
Yeah,
And the site
I
plan's not
agree.
approved until they do, technically, right?
Right. It's not a final approval.
But I don't want to bring it back again.
Well, if you, right, I mean, to me, that's an administrative checkoff that
Right.
I can do.
Yeah.
I can verify, and they don't, right, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Okay, so,
Yes, sir.
second.
Any more discussion?
Just a quick question.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, Mary, I don't remember the exact phrasing of the amendment of the parking that's gonna be.
Mm.
But if the parking changes pass, would that be better for them, or would it be worse for them?
Don't we have to deal with the zoning that's on the books today? Because that hasn't
We
been
do,
voted
but
on.
what I'm saying is, doing this, it doesn't matter whether, essentially it doesn't matter whether it passes or not. They gotta meet it.
Because we're here
And
now.
actually, you know what?
We're here now.
Let me just think of a way
The
you
ordinance
could,
that's on the books today,
Yes.
right now, not what might happen in the future.
that,
My concern is we just sent a case back to another month because of parking.
Because of the form, that's all.
Yeah.
We're not asking them to build a parking lot.
Right, but the auto
We just need
serve
them to
one, we
fill.
sent them back because they didn't show proper parking, proper snow storage, and proper lighting.
but
Those
It's
are-
not-
I think that you have to accept the unique aspect of the downtown district.
Yeah, because.
And to be consistent with the way the planning board has regulated parking matters in the downtown district. Think back to Rio Burrito, you know, other businesses that have been approved in the downtown district, the type of parking information that they've been expected to submit.
But this building is not on Main Street. This building is on Prospect and Academy,
I
and it does have its own parking.
I would
The
say
buildings in Main Street
it's in the downtown
do not have their
district.
own parking.
It's still in the downtown district, and the applicant, I would say, made a good point that there's just as much, if not more, public parking readily available within, you know, a short distance than there was at their last location.
Their own
I
application says they intend to use the on-site parking and not the municipal.
That's a technicality.
Actually, where's the
That's in
downtown,
writing.
where's the
Well,
downtown line?
regardless, I don't think it's
I
a
know.
problem. The parking's
No, I
not a
think
problem.
it's what the conditions we've just.
I'm not
Okay, wait a minute, so we have a second, so,
But we're in the discussion
We're
phase,
discussing
so we don't.
well,
I just have one quick question. Downtown district, is that considered railroad track crossing or railroad track crossing?
I don't know, the lot is designated as being in the downtown
Or is it-
district.
okay, so it's-
Yeah.
So is Citgo, and that's not,
Is that still just?
Railroad.
Okay, I was just covering, I always thought it was crossing.
that's what we
crossing.
use for
Well, it's on the
parades and
outside
things
of
like that.
crossing.
Any further conversation?
What about snow storage on their lot plan?
Good point.
On the,
uh,
can I answer that?
Yes, please.
On the right-hand side, the town actually plows that whole municipal lot onto, like, behind our building, so it's really the town that's storing the snow back there. On the other side of it, it's like we just shovel the four little spots on the
whole big parking lot
left-hand
needs to
side.
be,
Yeah, you have a whole parking lot now that you have to,
that you have to plow, and you have to figure out where you're gonna put the snow.
Then you have a drain down there.
Plow it. I mean, we have 2 employees, so,
You have a drain back there and you can't put the snow on top of the drain.
yeah. I don't know,
I'm sure that goes to the river.
all right, so what are you doing here?
Can we add the snow storage?
Well, are are you?
What are you gonna add, because you won't know where it,
What's that?
We don't know where it's gonna be.
you don't know where it's gonna be, so how can you add it? You can't
Well,
add.
maybe they need to indicate it on the
We
plan.
indicate where the snow storage is going to be.
You wanna amend the motion?
Your first requirement said plan or parking schematic. You could say a parking and snow storage schematic if you want.
Would you like to amend your motion to say
I'll
that?
amend it to say parking and snow storage schematic.
Second?
Okay, any further discussion?
I seconded it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? There you go, get together with Dari and figure out the details.
Good job. Congratulations.
All right, other business. Dari, what do we have for correspondence this evening?
Right. So I wanted to share with you a process that we've been using in the land use office to address change of use review forms. So we've actually had 4 change of use review requests come in recently. 3 of them, Al and I said, go ahead, you're good. And 1 of them, we said, you're going to need to do site plan review. So I've included those in the correspondence. And then there's also 3 dam letters
Are you
of
cursing?
deficiency. What?
You did.
Person?
Yes, I am. A letter of deficiency, a notice of inspection, and a letter of closure for deficiency. So I'll just pass these around.
You know, this is important to note because we had flooding because of the failure of these dams. Are you familiar with these dams?
No.
Are you familiar with this property? It's the Alton Drive property.
Okay, I knew the name, yeah.
Barn, house. As you look up to the, south of the house, up on that ridge, there's 3 ponds? 2 ponds.
There's an upper pond, where the sports center gets their fire prevention system water from, and then there's a lower pond that would feed somehow. Doesn't figure it out. Not that right.
We had a problem with flooding because of these.
Well, I know at one time he drained that pond, and it may have been a result.
Wow. I'm not gonna read it all tonight, that's a lot to read. But we should make note of what they're telling us. There's another one.
Is this from DES? No, DES. You'll have these in your office for review, right, Dari?
Yes.
Because it will take a while to absorb.
Kettlehead wants to expand?
Yeah, they need to expand. I mean, if they want to keep,
Well,
not have to turn people away.
you gotta get there at 3 o'clock if you wanna hang on at 5.
Thank you.
And this is the one you said that they're gonna come in?
Yeah, yeah.
Not even a year.
I know.
And so
That's
on
pretty
the
awesome.
ones where we're telling them go ahead, we're trying to give this email that says, okay, we're saying go ahead, but that doesn't mean you just go and do whatever you want. It includes some language about other departments that they need clearance from and a note that they need to get a CO before they can go forward.
What's an LOD?
LOD, I can't. Something oxygen demand maybe, but probably
Location fan.
not. Oh,
And the real estate office still owns that parking lot right across from them, right?
Oh, I wonder if it's.
from who?
Oh,
It's on the last
jeez.
one.
The real estate office, Steel Bank.
Oh,
They kept control of the
the parking
parking
lot,
lot.
yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So this is across the street behind me.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're going to change from a fitness to a food service.
It's a catering business.
And conference area.
Well, I think the conference area is just where she's gonna meet her clients.
Consultation.
Potential and existing clients.
On this one, temporary banners, what is a temporary banner? Like how many, do we have the real estate, how, do we have like a, so
Oh,
many months or?
yeah, I mean, that'll
We have
have to
something
be
for that?
permitted through a sign permit, yeah. I think you already got it.
So this one is definitely gonna have to talk to sewer. Is that on your?
The, yeah, I mean, she was definitely told, I'm pretty sure when she first came in, she had a conversation with Johanna.
Well, see, so that's the thing that I was kind of talking about in the beginning, so I can see why you made that decision, but on the other hand, how do we know that they follow through with the other town? I mean, the state polices themselves, and the fire district is a separate municipal entity that, I mean, we can only let them know. But the sewer is a town of Tilton agency. How do we know that they follow through? What assurance does the planning board?
There's a couple, when I send those emails, I'm including the departments, so I'm including Johanna, water, I think even public works, fire, I think I pretty much threw everyone on there. There's that. The other thing that we want to get toward, and I think we're well on the way with some of the things we've done recently, is trying to create a automated system where the certificate of occupancy is issued through basically a computer program, and in order to issue that document, you have to get sign-offs from department heads. So eventually, I'd like to have a certificate of occupancy that essentially requires just I don't know whether
And we don't have that now?
we don't know.
So a certificate of occupancy could be handed out by the town of Tilton, and the town of Tilton department may not have been spoken to, because that's definitely gonna need.
Well, I mean,
That's definitely gonna need a grease trap.
yeah, I mean, again, we put her directly in touch with Johanna on that one.
So why is the town of Tilton giving out a certificate of occupancy when the town of Tilton department doesn't weigh in on it? That's my question.
I don't think it should. I mean, I just feel
You don't think
by...
it's necessary that the town of Tilton doesn't cover all
No,
the
no,
departments?
no. I'm saying I don't think a certificate of occupancy should be issued.
That's what
if
he's
all-
agreeing with you.
I'm agreeing.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That tone of voice might
Yeah.
have totally
No,
kind of
sorry.
surprised me.
I'm losing my ability to properly tone my voice this hour. Anyway,
You said damn, too, I heard.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, I think, I do believe it's not like it's completely ignored. Steps are taken.
But is there a sign off on the certificate of
No,
occupancy?
there's not. It's Al and Tim who sign it.
So shouldn't we have a sign off for that department?
I think,
Does that have to come from the board of selectmen because it's a building occupancy permit?
the
No, the building.
change to the,
It's the.
Might not be a big deal to put it on there. We've been going back and forth with that for years.
I don't think it's a bad idea. Yeah, right, I mean, it.
Just one more line, one more.
It requires Al and Tim. No reason it can't be circulated to a bunch of other people. That's,
You just gotta walk across the,
So, I mean, what's
Yeah.
interesting is
Yeah.
if a separate municipal entity signs off on the time of Tilton's occupancy permit, I find that interesting. But our own sewer department does not.
oh, right, so someone who's not a part of the town of Tilton signs
Right.
off on it, but we have key people here in the town who
Right,
aren't
so the
signing.
driveway permits now come to land use, correct?
Right,
Because that's the other one that should be on that, to make sure they, if they have to comply with
yeah,
it.
that's
This
easy
one-
enough to
this
put
one just-
those on there.
all right,
That's good feedback.
all right, yeah, I'll get started on it.
Interesting.
For you.
Well,
Me too,
Should
sorry.
be the planning board. mean,
I know, I
it's
don't know what
a
you're
good
talking
package.
about.
It's kind
Yeah.
of
I
interesting,
don't know anything about
you know?
that. It's not, it's the world. But
Well, it's our
I
world
agree.
too, because it's,
I agree with
It's
it
required.
all.
yes.
Okay.
I agree too.
So can I ask a question about the minutes that you approved?
Yes.
So I'm looking at planning board case 1714.
Mm-hmm.
This was, is that it? Yeah, this is the property across from Lowe's, correct?
Yeah.
Mr. Turner.
Yeah.
So the conditions that are listed in here is a subdivision plan suitable for recording, depicting easements among the 3 proposed parcels, and boundary monuments shall be installed at newly created lot corners in accordance with section 6.38 of the subdivision regulations.
Mm-hmm.
We had a plethora of conditions beyond this.
Oh, yeah, keep going. Because there were 3 elements to the approval.
Okay.
Yeah, it's under site plan.
I read it quickly.
Yeah,
because we
yeah.
went right into the thing. This way.
I listened to it again today just to make sure. I'm pretty confident in what's there, but please let me
That
know.
was my
'cause that-
so that's my second question. Did you, because I don't remember them all. There was a lot of them.
I listened to the tape again today and looked at that while I listened to the tape, and it seems to all be there.
And now my next question is, because I'm always uncomfortable when we have all those conditions. If we did miss something, do the minutes of that meeting stand?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that it's been clearly established in case law, and I can't cite specific cases, I'm more talking what I've learned over the years, that something said at a meeting the town can hold someone to that. To me, I think where it gets questionable is if they say something that has nothing to do with the planning board's authority. So they say, I'm going to paint it black, and then they paint it brown.
Yeah.
There's nothing in any of the planning board regulations that say they have to paint it black. So to me, that gets questioned. But if it's about a planning board matter, then I think, yeah, if they say it at a meeting, just because it doesn't make it into the notice of decision doesn't mean they don't have to do it. They do that.
Like if we forgot driveway permit.
Right.
And that.
Oh,
still have to
definitely
do
that.
Oh,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely
Because that's a
that.
zoning requirement.
Right, but even something that wouldn't otherwise be required by regulation, if they said it and it relates to site plan, then yeah, they gotta do it.
Any other business?
Oh, I got it.
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Second. All those in favor?
Why not?
All right.
That's better than last time.